The standard Bible sitting on your shelf represents a specific, curated selection of texts. The history it presents is incomplete, shaped by a series of deliberate exclusions made by ancient political authorities. Many of the nagging questions regarding the origins of evil, the full scope of Genesis, and the cosmic identity of the Messiah remain unanswered in these versions, because the books that provide that context were removed. While European monks and Roman emperors spent the Middle Ages debating which books the public was allowed to read, a massive scriptural tradition survived elsewhere, entirely separate from Western oversight. In the highlands of East Africa, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has spent over 1,600 years protecting a biblical library far exceeding the Western standard. While the Protestant Bible contains 66 books and the Catholic version 73, the Ethiopian Canon library contains a total of 88 books. This ancient scriptural tradition survived intact because it remained geographically and politically isolated from the reach of the Roman Church. Ethiopia's towering mountains and deep gorges created a natural geographic fortress. This extreme terrain prevented outside forces from interfering with the preservation of these manuscripts. While these texts were safely hidden in the mountains, the Roman Empire and early Western church councils were actively working to erase them from public memory to unify their religious narratives. Today, we are opening two of the most disruptive texts preserved in this library, the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. These surviving documents are written in Ge'ez, an ancient Semitic language, and represent a direct link to the theology of the first century. These are not mere alternate myths. They are foundational scriptures that were saved from a systematic attempt at total human amnesia. The Book of Enoch remains visible within the standard New Testament. In the Epistle of Jude, verses 14 and 15, the apostle directly quotes a prophecy from Enoch as an authoritative source. The early church fathers viewed the text as sacred scripture, and it was widely integrated into the worship and study of the first Christian communities. Archaeological evidence confirmed this status in 1947, when a Bedouin shepherd discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls in the caves of Qumran. Among these scrolls, archaeologists found multiple fragments of the Book of Enoch in Aramaic. These fragments prove that devout Jews during the era of Jesus not only read Enoch, but treated it as a treasured spiritual text. If the text was central to the first century, why was it banned by later councils? The answer lies in how Enoch describes the origin of evil. Genesis 6 provides only 4 verses regarding the sons of God who mated with the daughters of men. Enoch expands this into a detailed, chapter-length account of a celestial rebellion. The text describes 200 angels, known as the Watchers, who descended to Mount Hermon and violated the divine order by taking human wives. This union resulted in the birth of hybrid giants, called the Nephilim. But the Watchers' impact was also intellectual. They systematically corrupted humanity by teaching forbidden technologies. The angel Azazel taught the forging of swords and weapons of war, while other fallen angels introduced astrology, sorcery, and the use of cosmetics. This narrative suggests that evil is not just a personal choice, but a systemic corruption introduced by divine rebels, a concept that challenged the simplified obedience narratives required by institutional religion. Enoch contained a theological revelation that the ecclesiastical authorities found particularly dangerous, a detailed prophecy of a pre-existent cosmic judge. Enoch specifically identifies this figure as the Son of Man. This is the exact title Jesus used for himself over 80 times across the 4 Gospels. First-century listeners understood Jesus' claims because they were already familiar with the cosmic role of the Son of Man described in Enoch. By the 4th century, Roman councils realized that a text providing such direct access to divine mysteries bypassed their authority, so they removed it to maintain their hierarchical control. Before we move to the next book, tell me where you are watching from. Comment your city or country below so we can continue building this network of researchers who refuse to accept filtered narratives. The second forbidden text is the Book of Jubilees, often called the Lesser Genesis. Fragments of this text were also found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, confirming its importance. Jubilees provides a specific, startling explanation for the origin of demons that is entirely absent from the standard canon. According to the text, when the Great Flood destroyed the physical bodies of the Nephilim giants, their disembodied spirits remained trapped on the earth. Noah prayed a protection from these spirits. In response, God ordered angels to bind 90% of them, but allowed 1/10 to remain free. These remaining spirits were placed under the command of a figure named Mastema to test human resolve. This provides a historical framework for the New Testament. The exorcisms performed by Jesus were not just battles against abstract evil, but a war against the surviving spirits of the Nephilim. Jubilees also introduces a complete redefinition of how sacred time is calculated. The text outlines a 364-day solar calendar divided exactly into 52 weeks. Because 364 is exactly divisible by 7, every sacred festival falls on the same day of the week every year. This makes the calendar mathematically fixed and predictable. In the Roman world, the calendar was a tool of statecraft. Authorities held the exclusive right to determine the dates for festivals and legal proceedings through complex calculations. A fixed divine calendar bypassed this imperial oversight entirely. By replacing this predictable solar cycle with their own systems, religious and imperial authorities ensured that the public remained dependent on their mediation to determine when to worship. For centuries, the public has been told that the 66-book Bible is the only complete record of divine history. The survival of these texts in the Ethiopian mountains proves that the history of faith is deeper and more complex than the edited versions suggest. You do not have to settle for a filtered history designed to keep you dependent on human institutions for spiritual understanding. You can read these manuscripts for yourself. They have been preserved and published in the Ethiopian Canon Library by Echelon Nexus Press. Volume 2b contains the complete, unedited texts of Enoch and Jubilees. Visit BibleDetails.com/start to access the library. I also recommend Volume 7, the Comprehensive Study Guide, which provides the tools needed to decode these ancient manuscripts. If this investigation provided a new perspective on your faith, subscribe and let me know in the comments which book you will read first. I will see you in the next investigation.